out and about Saturday, checking it out, just looking for lot lizards, and I find this chick, and we are hanging out, and she told me she's from out of town, out of state, out of country. She's from Canada. She is here for Chappelle, and we got in this whole conversation. I may be under the influence, and then I finally go, man, how did I miss that he's in town? And she just looked at me and goes, what? I'm like, yeah, Chappelle. He's a big name. How would I miss this? She goes, the singer. I go, Chappelle doesn't sing. And then she played a song for me. I'm like, oh, that's copyright infringement. I look like such an ass. I don't know current singers at all. There's a
singer named Chappelle.
It's Chappelle, and it's like Ronan. I want to. It's probably just Ronan. That'd be crazy. Chappelle Ronan. This is a wandering Chappelle. But I felt like such an idiot that I think it closed all doors in my face.
Oh, it's a girl.
Yeah.
Okay, this makes more sense now. Okay, I've seen this picture of this lady because somebody in my fantasy football team uses her picture as a profile picture.
Okay.
And it's a play. His fantasy name is off of her name, but I don't know anything about this lady. 5.1 million Instagram followers.
Yeah. It apparently, yeah. I was
That's
like,
so funny. Just Dave Chappelle thinking about him singing and just going, man, I'm going to sing my next thing about how transgender people aren't real.
yeah, dude, he kicks all his beats off with knee slaps.
Yeah. That's his metronome.
Yeah. But no, I was in my head. I'm like, I was blown away. I'm like, how did I miss this? I would have bought tickets ages ago if I knew Chappelle here. And she got really amped up when I was talking about it. And she's like, yeah, you missed out. Chappelle was great. And I'm like, I know Chappelle's great. We're having two different conversations.
Oh, that's so great. You like, but dude, I know it didn't happen, but it would have been great if you started just referencing a bit, and it turns out like this lady's just also has lyrics that line up exactly with one of his bits. But you're wearing a whore's uniform. That's one of her greatest songs.
Dude, the blueberry pancakes is just my favorite. And she's like, I love that song.
Bill Clinton getting his dick sucked in the Oval Office, a classic song reference.
Don't you love it when the real world gets real? Just
blind KKK member?
Clayton Bigsby.
Yeah. How old was this lady going to see this?
25.
No, that makes all the sense in the world now. Yeah. You Nathan, I just want to let you know,
now,
you were in the right for not knowing who this lady is. This lady who this Chappelle Ronan is 26 years old. Yeah, I think Roan.
Rowan? Okay.
Rowan?
That's why I thought it was Ronin.
Rowan.
I thought it was like a masterless samurai, a Ronin. I didn't know
Roni Kenshin. Chappelle, a Roni Kenshin.
Dude, you see where my mind's going 30 different directions opposite of where she was talking about?
Nathan, you're not going 30 different directions. You're going 30 years in the past. Irrelevant.
You want to hear my opener to talking to her?
Won't get.
You want to hear my opener to talking to her, dude?
Yes. Oh my God.
I go, oh. So like after the, because I still thought she like, and that I'm like, oh, you like have a late flight to go to Seattle to go watch Seahawks play or something? She had lime green hair with faded blue at the bottom. I thought she was going to a Seahawks game.
Oh, my God. No, you ran into a liberal 25-year-old going to a fucking weird concert.
You want to talk about weird when I said that, when she sat next to me and I made that comment, and I was like, Seahawks fan, for sure. And a Canadian accent came out.
I mean, it's pretty close, right?
You betcha. But, so we had... I started laughing when she corrected me because I was like, we were having diametrically opposed conversation, and neither
Did you say
of
that
us.
to her?
Yes, and I was like,
nice.
Neither of us realized this.
Did she think it was as funny as you did?
Yeah, she started laughing too, but I was just like,
that's good.
That is such a wild coincidence that you could talk for. It had to be like 5 to 7 minutes, and both thought we were talking about the same thing. before it got discovered. We were like, what?
Yeah. That's so funny. By the way, I just listened to like 3 seconds of one of her songs. I just clicked on a random one. It sounds like the first version of 80s girl pop.
Like Madonna?
No, like girls just want to have fun.
Oh, like Cyndi Lauper?
Yeah,
Okay.
Cyndi Lauper style. That's what I just got the vibe from. Like just based off of the one song and the beat and the way she was singing.
So you're
That's what I
saying
just
she's
got.
going to be a manager for the WWE?
At some point, dude, it's gonna happen.
I forget
Yeah,
who
she's
Cyndi Lauper was a manager for, but
she had a god damn it, what was the guy's name? But like she was a big fan of him, and then she came in and she the one guy fought on her behalf. I think he fought Macho Man.
I don't remember. I just remember, that.
Yeah, Cyndi Lauper. She loved wrestling, dude. She was all about the kayfabe. She held up.
Oh, dude. Yeah, but that was an interesting Saturday conversation with a stranger.
That's hilarious. But that's your age finally showing up, Nathan. Did you fucking start getting a hunchback all of a sudden and a cane just fucking shoot out of your hand like a weapon?
No,
from
I
a
got off the
Japanese
stool
robot?
and realized I was sitting on my walker.
Oh, that's so goddamn funny. It amazes me that like I'm still that removed. Like once I saw the photo, I was like, oh, I know this lady. Like I've seen references. I don't know anything about her though. So
I don't
Here we
either. Because we were having that like I said, we were having that conversation. I'm like, that is amazing. I missed the biggest opportunity to go see one of the best comedians ever. That it was something along those lines. And that's where she's like, wait, what?
yeah. Well, it's funny because she was just saying Chappelle. Like
Yeah.
By the way, I get that this lady has 5.1 million followers, right? But when you say it's because she's Canadian, right? When you say Chappelle in the United States, we're not talking about some singer, okay? It's Dave Chappelle. Chappelle Show. Okay, that was a cultural shift in time because of Dave Chappelle, okay? I don't think anybody is referring to Chappelle as that in the United States. I don't know, though, but I'm just going to chalk it up to a Canadian thing. Just be
I
like,
have no
well,
idea,
way to
dude.
go, French Canada. You suck again.
I have no idea. It was just the funniest conversation. And I
Is
was
that lady from Canada?
I have no idea.
We're going to find out.
No earthly idea. But it was the funniest conversation I think I've had this year, bar none, when stepping back at it and looking at it retrospectively.
Yeah, that's fucking fantastic, dude. No, she's from Missouri. It's not her real name, by the way, stage name.
Oh, uh-oh. Litigation incoming. But yeah, that was...
Good for you, man. Well,
Yeah.
you blew that one.
How'd I blow
What
it?
a rant. I don't know. It's just funny. You didn't blow anything, but it is funny. And I also like how it's just the nice young lady you have a conversation with, and you're just like, lot lizard, Canada.
Yeah, and then
what are the odds?
And then I pulled out, I'm like, hey, here, let me text you. And I was like, oh, how'd this iPod Classic get here? Just started pulling out old dated shit.
Yeah. Oh, what's your T9 signature?
Let me grab my sidekick.
You got an IM?
Hi, what do you guys say? Demure?
Yeah.
This fucking skibbity conversation.
Yeah, goddamn. You gotta love it, dude. Oh, that's great, dude. Good for you. I'm glad we're finding out we're both old.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. What's funny, too, is I think and I know you don't listen to the radio. I listen to the radio pretty frequently in my car.
Okay.
Now, granted, I do have a lot of the oldies stations. Like, I listen to a lot of, like, the old, like, classic rock stations and shit like that. But I turn on, like, the modern channel now and then just to be like, okay, what's out there that's the new pop stuff?
What's Sydney Sweeney singing about?
Yeah.
Some
What are these
Taste?
actresses turned singers singing about?
Taste? Please, please, please. I've kept up semi-current because of my daughter, so I'm listening to today's hits. I'm like, okay, I know some of these, and then there's some
Right.
that just escape me.
Is Sydney Sweeney really putting out a record? Is that a real thing?
Is it? Am I getting a name wrong? Who
No,
sings
you're thinking-
Taste? And please, please, please.
Taste and please, I don't know. Because
it's-
Sydney Sweeney's the actress that everybody's got
I'm
for
okay.
Cocoa
See,
Puffs about.
yeah, overrated.
Cocoa Puffs or her puffs?
Her puffs. Oh, dude, yeah.
Taste is what you said.
Sabrina
the name of the song?
Carpenter, is that it then? I think that's
Is
it.
that what's the name of the song? Taste.
It's Taste, just by itself.
Taste.
I think it's Sabrina Carpenter is what I think that's the
Yeah,
right one.
Sabrina Carpenter.
Yes.
That's Sabrina
okay.
Carpenter.
I got it on the second try. You didn't strike me out on that.
See, I only
Youngins.
know Taste by Tyga.
Oh, dude, I only know Tipsy by Jay Quan. I don't know this new version by this country artist.
Who the fuck is Sabrina Carpenter? Oh, I get why you are like Sydney Sweeney now. Okay.
Yeah,
She's like Sydney Sweeney. Yeah.
but sings.
God, yeah. Oh my. Wait a minute, Nathan. New conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
Did fucking Hitler's plan finally work? There's just an army of blonde-haired, blue eyes trying to influence the culture now.
Yeah, but it's you need. Hey, okay. In today's culture, it happened, okay? He transitioned. He's now known as Taylor Swift. It's normal.
Dude, that would be the craziest shit ever. It comes out of the government, a leaked file. It's like, no, Hitler's been here this whole time. He was hiding out in Nashville, learning how to write songs as a 13-year-old girl.
Really took a liking to Tim McGraw.
Yeah. He babysat his children. Who was it that? No, she babysat somebody's children. I think it was a WWE star. Like Taylor Swift was a babysitter for somebody.
No.
Yeah, no, it's a weird like Taylor Swift. I'm gonna look it up. It'll be online.
Kayfabe storytelling right here to bring it all back.
Babysitter. Oh, what was it? Yeah. Wrestling legend remembers Taylor Swift as a babysitter. Who was the wrestling legend, though? Fucking, just say it in the thing. Why not just put it in the headline?
Kevin Nash.
Oh, yeah, Jeff Jarrett.
Really?
Yeah, she was Jeff Jarrett's kid's babysitter.
Oh, really? Is this when he was with Deborah?
He used to walk back in the fucking
Is that why he
ring. Walk
started to
the
come in there
house.
with the guitar that said, "Don't piss me off"?
Yeah. He saw her playing music for his kids one day, and he went, "Hey, can I see that thing?"
Just hit
Yeah,
her.
yeah, I like the way this feels. You can fucking really bust this over a grown man's back. Deborah, call Vince. I got an idea. Yes, I love it. Think of the pop, not only of the guitar but of the crowd.
Equal opportunity punishment.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll never
Shit
forget
in the
that dude
guitar.
hitting somebody with a real guitar on accident.
Was it never? I thought it was always a real guitar. Were they prop? All
There are
prop
prop
ones?
ones designed to break. He did it once with a real guitar, and you
And it
see it
didn't break.
barely gives. It just boom, and I mean it just fucking wrecks.
Was it a
whoever
Gibson? Gibson makes a quality product. It
was
was a
a-
rock
no,
star
it was-
proof.
It was a Fender. No.
So yeah, Fender really had to step up their destruction design after Jimi Hendrix lit one on fire.
Fireproof.
Fender was like, "Fuck! Everybody
no.
thinks we make cheap, lightable shit now."
Now we know where Purple Haze came from. Like, this puts off a hue.
Yeah, when you burn the lacquer on a Fender, you can get a pretty sick high, dude.
Dude, Hendrix fucking rules.
Yeah. Oh, dude, still love Hendrix. I wish I still had all my T-shirts I had from high school when I went through my Jimi Hendrix phase, where I had just every different Hot Topic Jimi Hendrix shirt that was available.
It's so funny though how big those hits are that they still are like awesome today. Like
They're
all along the
unbelievable.
Watchtower is awesome.
Right. You'll never hear Sabrina Carpenter's Taste 60 years from now.
Well, you know, it's very nice. You'll just have to taste me when he's kissing you.
Is that the lyric?
Yeah.
Is that a lyric?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Apparently, I looked.
I guess excuse me while I kiss this guy. But
It's
whatever.
because her boyfriend went back to his ex.
Oh, okay.
It's
Is she
about
the one? No, that's Olivia Rodrigo. I was
no.
gonna say,
This
is she
one.
the one
This
she's
one's
like,
about.
my ex.
This one was about Camellia Caballo or whatever.
Okay. Well, who? It's about somebody.
Yeah, it's about
It's a
real.
Is
It's
it
about
a pop
real
beef?
people. Yes.
A pop beef. I thought it was only a Korean dish, but pop beef is happening in the industry.
Spicy. It's yeah.
Hilarious.
I'm learning too much about stupid shit.
Well, you can bring it to the podcast, dude. We need gossip. Clearly, whatever we talk about on a weekly basis is not reaching the people.
Oh, okay.
Thanks to all the new subscribers, by the way.
Just take a vigorous swig after that.
Yeah.
Like, hey.
Hey. Yeah, no, it's it's fun. I don't know. I like the gossip of it all. That is funny that there is pop beef though. That's got to be all. My problem is I think everything's orchestrated now. There's nothing that's not a work. Everything is fucking a wrestling gimmick.
I mean, you can really push wrestling in anything. And if there's anything I learned from the McMahon wrestling documentary is the WWE, or F as I like to call it, because I'm sorry, World Wildlife Foundation, you will never be the World Wrestling Federation.
Right. Also, I liked when it was called a federation because it at least still felt like it was a real thing.
There's that.
It was like a real organization
And,
that was like actual competing.
And Vince said it best. Wrestling is Americana.
Dude, it is. It's so American. It's every form of American entertainment wrapped up into one.
It's so crazy when he breaks it down how much you realize, like, oh, that really was what was going on in the world. Like Sergeant Slaughter, his character going crazy with the Iron Sheik.
Yeah, they literally, when you look back at wrestling through the decades, especially the way they tell stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a theater. It's a traveling theater that's literally telling the stories of today in a digestible, cartoonishly blown up way. That's all wrestling is. And then you have people fake fighting or scripted fighting. I don't like to call it fake fighting. As a purist, I like to call it scripted fighting.
I like to view it as a traveling storytelling group. And it's like, hey, we just do act outs.
Dude, it's the same thing of what used to happen all the time in the Old West. Like there was theaters in every town, and a show would come in and be like, hey,
troubadours.
Yes, we were going to have this, like, they do it in Tombstone's a great example. Like, that big show comes, right? And there's the one guy who does, like, a monologue, and then the lady sings, and that's what they did. Wrestling is that, just in a squared circle.
Yeah, but they still have the act outs, and they're like, oh, here's the ramifications. They fight because of this.
Yeah, it's a theatrical performance. And that's why it's funny when people are like, you know what's fake? It's like, it's fucking supposed to be. It's a carnival act.
Oh, it's great for that. But I will say, the culmination of everything that was in this McMahon documentary made me smile. And also at the very end of it, when they're like, hey, this horrible stuff's happening, I'm like, yeah, but it made me go rewatch old wrestling that I used to as a kid.
Yeah, you guys tried to paint me as you tried to paint this documentary to go, hey, this guy's a fucking horrible person. But also, check out all this sick art he made.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But that's the weird part. And I know in between, like in every episode, they talked about bad shit he did throughout all those decades.
Yeah.
But they showed everything awesome up until, and then at the end, it was just like 3 texts that was like, hey, this is what ended up happening with that thing.
Yeah.
I was like, they just ran giant. Okay, this is a Netflix produced documentary, right? Netflix just had a contract with WWE to now have Raw go live.
Yep.
But they did this documentary. All that stuff about McMahon came out while they're filming this documentary, right?
Yes.
So then they go, well, we were doing this whole documentary to lead up to our launch of having Raw. But now we can't not address that stuff. So what are we going to do? And just, just bookend every episode with, hey, here's a piece of shit thing he did. That's literally what it is. Otherwise, it's a giant commercial to be like, don't you want to be a part of the next couple decades of Raw watching it live on Netflix?
Yeah, so
it's a plea
my
to be
favorite,
like, this still rules.
my favorite thing that they did is, okay, they outline that, right?
Right.
I want everybody to step back and be like, oh, he's an absolute monster. Anybody that's gotten in a position of power like him, I hate to burst your bubble. They've all done wild shit. All of them.
You think the CEO of Target is fucking clean and innocent? I guarantee you the guy
you don't
at Target.
run Target and not be squeaky clean.
I'm sorry, you don't create a place that lures married women in to look at decor just because out of the goodness of your heart you want their houses to look nice. You're trying to lure babes into you. You're putting up a honeypot situation.
Yeah, and that's their indoor decorative section. That's actually code for swinging.
Yeah. It's why he was obsessed with pineapples. He's like, yes, there's pineapples everywhere.
There's always an upside down one. You know what I'm saying?
I have the mailing list of whoever bought a pineapple from my Target stores. Oh, by the way, legally, I am making all of this up. I have no ill will towards the Target CEO. I have no idea.
Yeah, but Trader Joe's. Now, let me get on it.
That's my favorite part is somehow, have you ever noticed that? We'll get back to our original point here. But everybody shits on the Walls. Sam Wall and all those guys who started Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
People shit on that guy.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, this is an evil family who started an evil corporation to shut down mom and pop shops in small towns.
Yeah, they do that to the Rothschild. Anybody that's uber successful. Yeah.
Yeah. But my point is, you went to but like with the Sam Wall, right?
Yeah.
Nobody does that to the Target guy. Do you never hear the Target guy get brought up
Why
for
are
doing
you
the
giving
same shit?
the My Pillow CEO's excuse here? I feel like I'm reliving.
Wait, what did the My Pillow guy do? I forget.
I don't know. I'm just making it up.
Oh, that's fun. I like this. But yeah, that's all I'm saying is it's wild. I just now realized that because for years you've heard about like, oh, the Walls are pieces of shit, but like you never hear anybody talk shit about Target.
I don't know, dude. It's
I don't know either.
Crazy, like all that shit. But I just find it funny because I'm like, yeah, he's a monster. And most, unfortunately, the super successful people are.
Yeah,
I don't care who you
super
are.
Successful you are. Well, most like anybody. I think that's one thing that people have kind of figured out over time now too, is like as things come out, you learn that people who are even just successful, like in art specifically, if we stay in art, like if you consider WWE in art form, right? Which if you hear Vince talk about it, he considers himself a performer artist, right?
Yeah.
All we found out over like the last like 10 years is that every artist is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Literally everybody.
Guys, I need to have this like serial stalker his art. Who's that? Picasso.
Yeah. Yeah, this guy who didn't pay for meals, he would just doodle on a napkin and give it to the waiter.
Yeah, I really love this opioid peddler. He did great art. Who are you talking about? Oh, Edgar Allan Poe. He's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, there's this guy, he invented like this really cool thing called a coil and it conducts electricity. Oh, you mean Tesla? Yeah. Yeah, he fucks pigeons.
They're not so conductive anymore.
Yeah. See what I mean? Like it's just like what more do you want me to go down? I'll keep going.
It's like, oh, hey, unfortunately, to be really intelligent and super business savvy in one area, you have to be like you devote so much into that. I think mentally you're obligated to be completely crippled in other areas of your life.
Right. Well, this is the problem where Vince got in trouble, right? When it comes to
he
this
broke
stuff.
the law.
He broke the law. That's rule number one. But this is why. He grew up in a culture, right? Once he got
Keyword, they're being cult.
Dude, like legitimately the way they talk about the wrestling business before he took over every
Oh,
territory.
when it was territories, yeah.
Dude, it is cult-like. It's like there's unwritten rules, how you do
They
business.
described it as a good old boys club.
It was a good old boys club, and that's my point. And he comes into business at like 18 years old. He finally reunites with his dad, like estranged father, for his entire life. Comes into this cult, basically. I shouldn't call it a cult, but like it's just
it's a cult of personality, baby.
A cult of personality. Come on, CM Punk, let's go. But he comes into this mentality, right? And it's a traveling freak show. You know, that's what it was.
Are you
It's a
telling
carnival.
me the undead wizard and his fiery brother are a freak show?
Yes, 100%.
I don't believe this.
I'm not even. You're jumping ahead in story.
Oh,
You're
I'm
just
sorry.
ahead.
Oh, I'm
because
sorry.
this is my point. Because they was just starting to get televised locally at that point and stuff. But before that, it's all a traveling circus, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's no ties to these places. This there's always been these stories about like traveling performers, like I was saying back in the Old West, who would go into town, perform, but then do horrendous acts and cause problems and illegal activity, and then just leave, right? Because they were traveling. You don't have to.
It's
come back
lawless,
to that
dude.
town.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's law. So they grow up in a culture like that, and then he starts but he makes it so like everybody knows who these people are. But they're still stuck in that mentality of they can do this kind of vagabond move from town to town thing, but that's not the case anymore.
Yeah, no.
You get that's kind of like my.
Oh, it was just so funny because that was the start of them trying to paint as a villain, be like he stabbed everybody in the back and stole all the people and made his own thing. I'm like, yeah, that's how you grow.
Yeah. You want to know my biggest takeaway from the whole thing? I want to talk about it like almost episode by episode.
Okay.
Thing from thing. But my biggest thing, and it kind of goes back to what we were originally talking about, how it's like just this one big advertisement for WWE to like go back and watch their stuff almost, right?
Yeah.
Vince McMahon is the greatest propagandist who's ever lived.
Yeah. He got people to
Because-
really buy in all the stories.
Not only you buy into it, but you literally forget the things he was doing. That's how good the storytelling is, even in this documentary, of them just doing this recap of stuff I know. I thought this was going to be a lot more about stuff I didn't know about WWE or just about Vince McMahon. I thought this was going to be way more about actual Vince McMahon, not about like the history of the WWE.
Yeah.
I know the history of the WWE. And I didn't get a lot of new information out of this. But what I learned is Vince McMahon is a mastermind of getting you to forget certain things. Like the perfect example, Superfly Jimmy Snuka. I forgot that he killed that lady.
Yeah, that was wild when they brought that up. I was like, oh yeah. What?
Totally swept under the rug. I totally forgot that happened. Now, granted, I also wasn't alive, but I'm like I said, I'm very up to date on what's happened throughout WWE history.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy fuck, I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
I forgot about the Hogan testifying in court against Vince McMahon.
I remember
for
that.
steroids. I forgot about it.
Now, I remember
know
him
what happened.
testifying. I guess the thing I didn't remember was that it was against McMahon. I just remember he testified and said he did steroids.
Yeah, you don't remember the part where it was like the U.S. Justice Department brought him in to testify on their behalf. Also, dude, Hulk Hogan just being like, I wouldn't tell the prosecutors what I was going to say. I was like, that's fucking crazy they let him get on the stand. How are you going to let him get on the stand and not know what he's going to say?
Yeah, it's just like, he's our best
I guess
bet.
they're just... I like how they're like, well, he's under oath, so he's got to tell the truth. And I was like, you don't think a guy whose entire career is based off making a fake persona
Yeah, I was gonna say,
can't talk himself into believing a fake lie?
Have you not noticed this man for a living goes up and just says things off the top of his head to do a promo? Like, again, you're going to send him up to do a federally indicted. She's like, all right.
If I was a prosecutor, then I would have just been like, during my closing arguments, it's like, Hulk Hogan, if you asked him, can you trust him? he would tell you, and you just play the video from when Andre the Giant challenges him to WrestleMania 3, and when Roddy Piper's, and he's just like, "Are you gonna fight him?" Yeah. Hulk Hogan would tell you yes, you can trust him. I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you can't.
Oh, dude.
That would have been my closing argument.
It's crazy because that's one thing you go over there and you throughout that whole thing you watch and you go, he's so cutthroat. No, you can't trust that dude further than you can throw him. It's crazy.
No. And it's weird how I feel like some of those wrestlers have to have some kind of like, it's not Stockholm syndrome, right?
But
it's some kind of like, I don't know what the term is for it, but they have some kind of like weird relationship where they were somewhat abused throughout, like just.
Well, that's a nice way to say completely abused, but yeah, somewhat.
But the amount of them would be like, I owe my life to that man, which, okay, arguably a lot of them do. Like, without him, they don't have this mainstream success.
It's crazy how many call him their father figure.
Exactly. And that's where, but then you think about it, they're all general contractors, so he doesn't take care of them like medically in a lot of those ways and like that. But like they cut all these corners with the company. But then there are these stories of like,
Jesse
Bruce
the Body
Pritchard's,
Ventura.
I forget that part.
Oh,
but
that's where he was trying to unionize everybody.
Yeah. Oh, and he completely like sabotaged that royally. Basically, Vince said, "If you show up, you're fired."
Yeah.
And then, but like I was gonna say, like there's all these like things that you can point to, like where he doesn't really care about them in a fatherly way when you point out those things. But then you hear these stories like Bruce Pritchard said, like, "Oh, you guys talk about at the end of the documentary, he's like, you guys tried to paint him like he's a bad guy, but like." You didn't ask me about the good things he's done. Like he paid for my wife's cancer treatments she's been cancer free for 25 years, and back then it was a death sentence when she was diagnosed and all that stuff.
No, there's no way you go through that long in a business and have not done so many good deeds. Like I guarantee they exist.
For sure.
We just didn't hear about them.
Oh, for sure. And that's the thing. But it is very weird, I guess, going back to what I was saying, is like how many of them call them, like you said, they call him his father figure. But then like they start asking them questions and telling stories, and like they talk about him with this fear in their eyes, almost bringing up things. It's like telling like a school counselor that your dad's hitting you. That's the vibe I got.
Which he did.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Sure.
Like the whole them going over the Montreal screw job, I didn't know that Bret Hart knocked him out.
Oh, I knew that. Yeah, no, that was a big fucking deal.
Like I knew they got in a scuffle. I didn't know he knocked him out. That's
he
crazy.
Knocked him clean the fuck out. The Canadian right hand of justice.
Oh, and it's just insane everything that happened in that documentary.
I would think Bret Hart's got to be fucking tired of talking about that story, but goddamn, I swear to God, he signs up any chance he can to tell the fucking story about how the Montreal screw job is a bad deal.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks because Bret Hart rules. Like,
oh, I love Bret Hart, but yeah, he just like after like that, he just and like rightfully so. I get he never let it go. But like. At the end of the day, let's be honest, and I'll say this just from what I know from Wrestling Code, and then we got to get back to Vince McMahon. We can't see. This is why Vince McMahon is good as propaganda. You start talking about storylines and start to get away from his crime. But Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels in Montreal.
Shawn Michaels got his ass kicked in a bar because he was being cocky.
I swear to God, Vince McMahon is goddamn Professor X inside the big dome thing.
Yeah, he's in all of our heads.
If you're a wrestling fan, he just connects with you, and he's like, talk about the Montreal screw job.
Yeah, he's like, hey, what are you doing, McMahon? I'm just going to go into Serbo. I'll be right back.
I'm going to see what these wrestling dorks are talking about.
Get them back to the pop.
He's all about the heat, though, dude. That's why I think part of this documentary, like, yeah, he didn't finish filming it, but he loves the heat.
Now, I cried laughing when he's like, and what we call in the business heat. I was getting a lot of heat. And the heat, if you played a drinking game, I forget what episode it is, but they say heat so much. I'm like, you are just blackout drunk at this point.
Dude, that's my if you played that game, like you could play a game very easily where it's like you take a sip every time a wrestling term is said.
Oh,
that documentary, it's my favorite.
You'd be gone.
My least favorite though is they never brought up the receipts. That's my favorite wrestling term.
Oh, that is true. That never got.
Do you know what the receipts?
No,
are?
I was just faking it. I have no idea. I'm.
Or a receipt is like, let's say, either one, you did something off stage that's really shitty, right?
Yeah.
Like you end up taking a real shot basically in a match. Like rather than pulling up on a clothesline.
I thought that only happened if you fucked up and actually hit somebody.
That's also where it comes up.
Oh, okay.
That's where most of them come from. Like if you botch a fucking thing and hurt somebody, you got a receipt coming. They're gonna actually fucking hit you, and it's mostly a reminder to be like, yo, I'm in here we're working together to protect ourselves. We're doing a show, but you got to protect me if I'm gonna protect you.
Gotcha.
So that's where the receipt comes
from.
What, so yeah.
Oh man, I always wondered that. What was Owen Hart's receipt?
Yeah, that was wild too. That was the first time I feel like I heard Brett talk about it too. Like I've watched documentaries. But
I was talking about breaking Stone Cold's neck, like when that happened.
Oh well, that was what the falling out of the sky was.
Jesus Christ!
Austin 316 says I'm gonna drop your ass. No, that's what I thought you were talking about. I thought you were talking about that. I thought you were literally. See, we just did what you did with that Canadian girl. One Canadian, you confused a Canadian wrestler for this Canadian girl, and there you go.
See, I just can't talk to Canadians. I'm always thinking something else. They're talking something else.
They're always talking backwards. Yeah, but I don't even remember what I was talking about with the Montreal screw job now. We got off track there because I was talking about McMahon being the ultimate propagandist. It is wild though that he has that ability to make you forget like so many bad things because you get wrapped up in whatever storyline. Well, and that's what they bring up a lot in the documentary is he blurs reality and storytelling.
Okay.
Like that's where you could tell like. After like one like allegation came out, he started putting like weird things in like the show. Mm-hmm. When he was in midst like some kind of sexual abuse case, but he was still on TV and he was just like doing these other weird things.
See, I haven't watched any of the new stuff, so I have no idea what was going on during there, except for when they did that little clip of Stephanie going, "Thank you, Vince," and I was like, "Whoa, that's a bad look."
Right? No, I'm not talking about this recent stuff. I'm talking about what happened, like in the documentary when they're talking about back in like the Attitude Era.
Oh, gotcha.
Remember they referenced that in the doc where like there was just like there was some kind of lawsuit. And he was like having some kind of he had that weird storyline. I think it might have been Jeff Jarrett, honestly, where like a lady came in and was like, and he was like, "Yo, get away from me!" And like she ripped off her wig and started tearing her clothes. And she was like, "Help! Oh my god!" And she started faking like he was assaulting her.
Oh,
remember that part?
Yes.
Yeah. So like he was doing stuff, putting shit like that in the show while he was in the middle of being like sued.
Well, that's the thing. Like even when he was going through the whole steroid case. I thought that whole thing was a bit. I mean, showing up and he got neck surgery and he's got you never can tell with that man.
No. And I think, in his mind, even if it's not like he knows it's real and it's a serious thing, he's like, it's content. He was like
everything
YouTuber.
Is content. Yeah,
everything's content. Everything. There's no such thing as bad publicity in Vince McMahon's eyes. And in a lot of ways, he's not wrong.
No, I mean, he used everything for content.
Yeah, he really did. I mean, that's why it became a $1 billion industry.
Yeah.
It's wild he keeps getting his way back in. Like, I didn't realize he got back into the company, I guess. Because I haven't kept up with a lot of the news, I guess. But when he got kicked out originally from, like, when they sold TKO, right?
Yeah.
And then all these allegations came out, the actual recent ones. And then... he got out, and I think he's back in now, right?
No, he's not in anymore. So he got back in. When he came back in, because that was mentioned, it was on ESPN. He got back in and unloaded all his the rest of his shares and just made
That's
out like
right.
just a Pied Piper.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he went in and out one time.
And then he grew that pencil thin mustache.
Ode to Walt Disney, his hero.
Yeah, exactly. He got all that money and he became a vaudevillian villain. It's just
whole new world. A shining place and never been.
It's insane that all that happened. It's crazy.
Yep. It's a wild documentary. I mean, and even if you don't care about wrestling, I encourage you to watch it. Because like Nathan said in how Vince McMahon was quoted, is it's Americana. Wrestling is just this like ultimate form of what American entertainment is.
Yeah, they're taking what's popular today and interweaving it into some weird story to make it interesting.
But it's not only that. It's just not that it just takes what the current thing is. It's how it influences our culture too. Wrestling, everything is almost downstream from what happens in wrestling. Have you never noticed that or put two and two together when it comes to that?
Yeah, like, okay, here's a perfect example because I happened to see it online. I didn't watch the pay-per-view Bad Blood, right? But
right, I did.
A couple people, they just happened to see it outside and were recording on their phones. Just random people. They are not affiliated with the WWE at all. And they post a photo of the
Kevin
guy
Owens
and
Cody Rhodes.
Yes, and they actually got into a fight, and then they're like, and in my head I'm like, oh, that's a story. I thought it was all staged, and apparently
it is, Nathan.
I know, but I'm like, these. What do they do? Just hey, you two fans, just go record this.
What they did is they staged their bus where it was. So it was like where people were exiting the stadium, Cody's bus where he was. So he's like, it like just happened to be there. It's all staged. It's a work.
I know it had to be, but I was just like, it's so crazy.
They did a great job though. But yeah, because that's
because the cameras weren't there. It was just fans.
Well, yeah, but that's also another creative genius of like what Triple H is doing now as the order. He's letting the fans get to be the guys who get the scoop. Like, imagine you're the guy who posts that video.
I mean, yeah, it's perfect for like getting TikTokers.
Yeah, it's interactive. It's like you found a storyline. Like you're walking around the building and you found a storyline.
Dude, this new wrestling RPG is amazing. I'm just walking around.
What it is.
All roads lead to chaos. Look at Cody go.
Well, so like there's a perfect example of it bleeding into the reality, right? Because you don't know if that, like you said, you don't know if that's real. It could have been maybe it was, but I know because I watched the pay-per-view. That's just a legit scuffle to set up the next pay-per-view, like the next match.
I just love it that somehow Triple H has taken the right page out of Vince McMahon's, and it's like they kept saying in the documentary too, blur the line.
Yep.
It's like so you
blur the line.
So you have no idea what's going on.
See, but like I guess when you brought up that example, that's a great example of blurring that. But what I'm talking about, how wrestling is upstream from culture, right? And everything kind of trickles down from wrestling to other culture. Look at entertainment and how wrestling has influenced it. My perfect example, I was thinking about this when I went to the Chiefs game this year. When the fuck did football teams start doing wrestling entrances?
Well, it all started in 1985 with the Super Bowl Shuffle, and then from then...
Right. But seriously, though, like maybe during the Super Bowl, like you said, like they would do like some kind of big entrance and introduce two teams maybe, right? But like now it's like it's a straight up like announcement and like there's fireworks and like coming out of fog. It's a production. Without WWE, football never does that and goes, oh, this is an entertainment business. Like, we got to up the ante in entertainment.
Well, yeah, because they're showing wrestling keeps innovating and taking the pieces that do work, making them into something else. Because in rewatching old shit, I've noticed, I'm like, man, that fell flat. That sucks. And, like, there's so many weird things, and you watch it, just the iterations of it. Like, perfect example, I noticed when The Rock broke off on his own, I'm like, man, this intro really sucks. And then, like, fast forward to 4 or 5 weeks later, I'm like, oh, they've redone it, and here it goes.
Yeah, it was always how do we build the product better. But it's so like they're just always influencing like just other entertainment. And that's what blows me away is like Vince McMahon, he can be two things at once. He's a colossal piece of shit in how he treats other human beings.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also a innovative genius who would literally he was ahead for decades on what was capturing people's attention. He literally influenced like I don't care, I would argue Vince McMahon is single-handedly influenced the entire 90s and 2000s.
Okay. There's a caveat
All of
to that.
entertainment.
There's a caveat to that. And that is, while I completely agree with you, big piece of shit on what he's done, yes. But he has an intrinsic value that not many people have, and that is, hey, when the fucking deck is stacked against you, you're pulling out pocket aces out of your ass somehow. And he did that every time. WCW was on the rise, taking their lunch. They're fucking done. And all of a sudden, hey, I have adversity. Let's go.
Yeah. It's like he says in the thing, I don't run from a fight. I love confrontation, and I'm going to run towards it. And that's how you get a different human being. When you just go, confrontation, everyone's running that, I'm walking right into it.
Yeah.
And that's how you get a psycho.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Then American Psycho was made. But you know,
that's how you get a punch-drunk psychopath. But you're 100% right. Like, and like you could argue too. Like WCW honestly was the catalyst for what WWE became in the Attitude Era, and that's 100% true. But like even Eric Bischoff says in the documentary, they took what we did and they did it better.
Yeah.
And he's 100% right.
Yeah. Just innovated way better because like the WCW was so fun for a while, but then the NWO roster was like 80% of the roster at one point. Like at the end, it was crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts. And then they let the one actor win, and they ruined the integrity of the belt.
Oh, yeah. Then, yeah. I missed the time, though, when they showed it. I was like, oh, I remember watching this live when Kevin Nash and Scott Hall came in as the outsiders.
Yeah, they were just showing up.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember that. I remember watching it, too.
That was fucking awesome. And I was like,
and I remember being so confused.
Yeah,
because they were calling him Scott Hall. And I'm like, who the fuck is Scott Hall? That's Razor Ramon.
And that's Big Daddy Diesel.
Yeah, I was like, that's Diesel. What are you talking about? Like, my 8-year-old brain, I don't remember how old I was, but I was probably around that age. But my brain couldn't wrap its head around, like, why are they calling these guys different
And they
names?
had this, Scott Hall had the same fucking look. He had the little greasy hair hanging down, like, it's just full Razor Ramon character.
Yeah, well, they're calling him, it was so funny. It's so funny. Yeah, it's an amazing documentary, and that's why, like, it's, I think you should watch it in that aspect to understand how, not to pat myself on the back as a wrestling fan, but it, like, when you watch wrestling like this, like and you keep track of it, like how I have recently, and you even like if you understand what happened in those decades, you can see how culture is affected and has changed because of what wrestling is. That's what's weird. Is like everybody looks at professional wrestling as this like whatever, dude, it's not that big of a deal, like it's not like it's just this fake fighting, who cares? But it's like that reporter brings up, he's like, no, I don't think people will understand how much influence this is having on people.
Dude, that's another thing you just made me remember is that fucking reporter just digging at him the whole time.
Dude, he was right, though.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy
Yeah.
is everybody, in like he said, he's like, nobody paid attention to my story because everybody just said what I said. You hear, professional wrestling, this industry, and you're like, who gives a shit? It's fake fighting.
Yeah.
Steroids and fake fighting, who gives a shit? Like this sex scandal with carnies, who cares? Like, that's what
the theater
did.
troops doing drugs, and that's basically
the perfect crime.
Oh, it was crazy. It made me sad, though, when they started saying, and they got to the part where, like, all these wrestlers are dying young, and they started listing out the names. I'm like, damn, dude, that still hurts seeing that name.
Well, and that's when that's what makes you, once you get to that part, right? Especially like we said earlier, all these wrestlers consider somewhat consider Vince this like paternal figure in some way, shape, or form, and have respect for him. And then you hear him and how he almost like, I know he definitely feels some kind of remorse because he does in some way care for these people, but he knows he's such a psycho. He knows he can't show any real emotion towards feeling a way for these people.
Even his
You know what I
family.
mean?
Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, he's just like, nah. Like, yeah, those are performers. They made choices. I can't feel bad for choices they made.
Yeah. It's that corporate level of just, I have zero empathy.
Yeah, he's the personification of corporate lizard brain. We live strictly by legally binding things. Did it happen within the scope of the law? Then I don't feel bad.
Yeah. They got him from that doctor guy. I had nothing to do with it.
Dude, yeah, it's wild.
Which also, bringing back to the Wild Wild West, that doctor was a traveling snake oil salesman that just had to pop up.
Sure. You want to get some big muscles? You take this snake venom, yeah, and you get big old traps.
Oh,
see?
you tore a muscle. Well, what you want to do is inject it with this.
Yeah. 3 shots in your ass a day, and you'll have traps the size of Andre the Giant.
They'll reconnect themselves. No problem. You're only out 2 weeks.
Dude, yeah, it's insanity. You just know, like, that's what's weird is all these people like hold him in this high regard, but then, like you said, there's all these wrestlers who die, and he almost has no remorse. In a lot of ways, and this is probably what makes him so good at writing the storylines he did for years, right? He looks at these people like they're toys. It's his action figures, and this is just.
Are you saying he's like a child that just never really grew up? In that term, he's like, all right, what can we do?
Yeah.
This character hates the boss. This character just hates authority.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what it really comes down to. Is Vince McMahon is just playing himself.
And that's the thing I took away from it is, I think he got so deep in the character, he doesn't even know who he truly is anymore.
No, he got lost. He became a thespian, dude.
Yeah, he's Daniel Day-Lewis of wrestling.
He really is. I love that everybody, like, I think he held up a mirror to himself, which is funny because he goes, when I was Mr. McMahon, I just acted like how all these people I knew that growing up that I didn't like, I would just acted how they would have acted. But then you hear everybody, other wrestler go, nah, I think that's like Vince actually, but just dialed up to like 9. It's really him. Like, he looked up in a mirror, and he just – I love when he goes, I look in a mirror, and I know who I am.
As he says that, as he has that clown mustache going on. But
yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, it's worth a watch. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, I think you'll get some entertainment out of it.
Oh, it was – brought back a ton of nostalgia.
Yeah. I need to go watch WrestleMania 3.
Like
I said, greatest propagandist.
It really is.
All the bad shit made me go, I got to go watch these pay-per-views.
And because of that, and just in hearing that, I started texting you fun little tidbits of, like, on this date, and just wild shit that's happening on those old
While
Raws.
you're watching? Yeah, it's so fun. It's actually a thing I really enjoy when I get as a random text from you when it's just a batshit crazy thing from a random Raw in, like, 92.
Because it's shit that's, like, everybody's arrested if any of this really happens.
Right. Well, and it's like you said, as we watch more and more, like, the Raws from our childhood, like, because we were just like, oh, let's just go back and rewatch these, and we've both been doing it. The more you realize, you're like, there's no fucking wrestling during the Monday Night Raw when we were watching. There was almost none.
It is insane how much that I'm watching, and I'm like, this is just story. How did this attract? And then I go, you know what? Nope, this is a soap opera for dumb teenagers, and I was right there.
It was. Oh, I was right there too, dude. I loved it.
Oh, it was amazing.
Was that school getting in trouble for yelling at kids? I'm going to take your tombstone.
Oh, no.
I don't know why. That wasn't even an Undertaker phrase, but we used to say that all the time.
We used to get detentions for just, like, anytime somebody pisses off, be like, suck it. It just...
Yeah. 2 words.
And my favorite thing is when that was going on, didn't know what it meant at first. It probably about 3-4 weeks before we're like, oh.
I had no idea. I still didn't know. You never told me. I just kept saying it.
I mean, it's self-explanatory, and I was like, it's cooler if you don't know.
The best thing was whenever your parents were trying to tell you something and you just said you didn't want to do it, and then you go, and that's the bottom line. And you just walk out of the room.
Dude,
then you end up doing it, and you're like, if I was stone cold, I wouldn't have to do this bullshit.
Dude, I got in okay, because of that, I got detentions for flipping somebody off. I was like, okay, I can't do that at school. I got detention for telling somebody to stick it up their candy ass.
Turn that sumbitch sideways.
I was like, all these fun little quotes that I'm like, oh, yeah, can't say that. That gets you detention.
It's wild that guy's a children's movie star now. He used to tell us to turn things sideways and stick it up people's candy asses.
Or just blatantly cut somebody off in the middle of something and tell them it doesn't matter.
Now he wants me to use the Acorn app to invest in my portfolio.
It only takes cents off. It just rounds up and uses the excess cents, and it puts it in your portfolio. It's a really neat thing.
It's so funny to see the guy who was rocking a $500 Versace shirt tell me to be financially responsible.
Well, that is responsible. Think of the intrinsic value that will go up over time. It always appreciates.
If you smell the debt, the rock is in.
Oh, shit. You know where you don't get debt?
Punninggame.com.
That's right. Check out punninggame.com. You get the entire network for free at your fingertips. Also, youtube.com. Type in Comic Wade Taylor. No spaces. Again, that's Comic Wade Taylor. Spelled just how you think it'd be spelled. You get clips of this show, Not Worth the Time, that man's stand-up comedy. So like and subscribe. Keep up to date there. Back on punninggame.com. Get some merch.
That's right, everybody. Hop over to the Pun and Game shop. We can get t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, stickers, all sorts of cool stuff to represent your favorite shows here at punninggame.com. We got new designs up there, so go check them out. Get yourself something cool. Buy yourself something for the holiday season, you know? Look fresh at Thanksgiving, or get yourself an early Christmas present or Hanukkah present. You know,
Shalom.
There's all sorts of presents you get out. Shalom. So go out there and don't forget to use promo code WGAF. That's promo code WGAF, and they get you free shipping at checkout. Don't forget to go over to YouTube, like Nathan said, and subscribe and like the videos. We really appreciate it. Thank you to all the new subscribers checking stuff out. Welcome to the channel.
Vince McMahon's gone, but he brought the heat and the pop. We're out. Peace.
I just want that pop beef.
Who is this?